being deep in research implies is not just the theoretical, that is basic research. You are talking about applied research, research that yields products that are relevant to solving the challenges of society and economy. And let me say this, at TED Fund, in anticipation of this, and we've interfaced with NUC, NBTE, and NCCE, the regulators of University, Polytechnic, and College of Education, respectively. And we said, and that's why our Board of Trustees last year, when I came in as here, I made a case, and the Board of Trustees approved. We now have a department for R&D. Now, the R&D, in my opinion, represents the future in the research community. If we never got that, it will be a mistake. And I believe that the way we are going about it, we started by saying we're going to put money in every public tertiary institution to create an R&D unit. Now, the purpose is simple, that for a long time, we've been celebrating a number of research outputs. In other words, publish or perish, as we've always said. That you have somebody with a long CV, theoretical publications, and we're celebrating it. What is the product? Has it solved whether social, engineering, or economic problem? Nobody is asking that question. We can't continue that way. Our universities cannot rank well if we continue with that attitude. And that's why we're putting money, and we are hoping that R&D is institutionalized. And let me say this, not only for our tertiary institutions, but for the economy.
Well, elsewhere
Yes.
where they get it right,
Good.
I'm not sure they have the equivalent of TED Fund.
Yeah.
So what is it that they are doing right that we could also borrow from?
Yeah, let me say this. In fact, I enjoyed the contributions from both, from the side of Professor Okoye-Pola and the Vice Chancellor of Bayero University in respect of the issue of inviting industry. In fact, a major weakness that we discovered why we've not been able to deepen research and adopt R&D as the correct direction to move and improve ranking of our listing and solve problem of economy and society is because there has been no law backing the Federal Executive Council pronouncements, a number of declarations. In this country, if there is no law that backs a thing, it exists there on paper. Even, for instance, the beautiful STI, the Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy of this country, fantastic. But it's lagged behind because it appears we need a law. And that is why at TED Fund, I have made a case for a national R&D foundation. I believe that a national R&D foundation is overdue for this country. We need to establish it with the backing of law. And if that happens, I can tell you that will be a very important alternative or added source of funding. Because if industry is invited into the research community, and the research community has innovative, creative research that invites the industry, I mean, it's a win-win situation. That's exactly what we need. And I said it the other day recently in an interview with Channels. I said, who says that the Nigerian professor has to go for sabbatical only in a university? Should be able to go for sabbatical in a Julius Baja or Dangote. There should be an R&D desk for the professor or the innovative PhD holder. If he does that, he is going there to solve a problem. And the industry would put money. And if there's a law that backs it, that is how I believe the future should be. It's a matter that I'm glad, and I will be glad to discuss further.
All right, we have blessing. I just wanted to a point of information. We've had teachers of mass communication in the past who took their sabbatical and came and worked in the media. The Guardian was one example, just to illustrate what you're talking about. So if you were mechanical engineering, why don't you go to Julius Baja? That's right.
All right. Professor, quickly, let's take a look at a number of agencies or institutions having not been able to access the funds despite your laudable interventions here and there. What could be the problem? Some have been penalized or at least pushed aside for not following certain guidelines. What are those things that they should actually look out for to actually access some of this intervention funds rightly?
Thank you very much. The issue of poor or low accessing of our funds, I mean, a number of times people have made comparisons with our case and that of UBEC. But I tell you, it's a different ball game in the case of UBEC. Remember that in the case of UBEC, the law requires counterpart support from the states. That is not exactly the case in our own. Our own has to do with lack of the capacity of some of the benefiting institutions to cope with our requirements. What we often like to call in TED Fund a robust implementation mechanism. That is not just, we don't just give money. We have, for instance, for construction-based projects, we have 3 tranche payments. For procurement, there are 2 tranches. And for each of these, even if the first tranche says 50%, I can tell you that the 50% is posted from TED Fund to the institution. But the institution ensures that the BPP, Bureau for Public Procurement Law requirement of 15% release is applied. Nobody goes to give you 45% if you don't have evidence that you have structures worth that. So that our robust mechanism for implementation has helped to protect public funds. And I can tell you that, yes, we are aware, and last year when I came in, we reviewed the guidelines. And there were complaints from some of the institutions, I mean, a number of stakeholders. We reviewed them, and within 4 months, we discovered significant increase in the accessing of our funds. So where an institution has a problem within the district, we give them certain period. If they don't, the Board of Trustees has the right to now take away the money and give another institution that is ready to utilize it.
Oh. All right. Professor Bogoro, thank you very much for your comments. I just have a question for Professor Okebokola. I know that he's been itching to also respond to some of the points you made. Perhaps you'll respond, but I would like you, because you touched on the composition of the governing councils of Nigerian universities, particularly public universities. Beyond pursuing A and P matters, that's appointment and promotion, what other value do we get in terms of the management of our institutions to deal with this infrastructure gap?
Well, you see, council policy formulating and overseeing the operations of the university, and also an organ for winning funds for the university. So you'll expect somebody in council not to come to council to look for where he or she will get money, but how he or she can contribute, use his or her connections in industry and elsewhere to bring money to the university. But that's largely what we don't have, in our university system, where people pile up in the party secretariat, say, put my name there, I want to be on council of X and Y university. And as soon as the person gets to the university, Mr. Vice Chancellor, where are the contracts? And the Vice Chancellor will say, my friend, this is an educational institution. There's no money here. Then we'll tell the people at the other end, please post me out of here. I mean, there's nothing here. Okay. And if it's not posted out, we'll begin to breathe hot air down the neck of the Vice Chancellor. Look for money. Look, TED Fund money has come. Now let me give you a contractor. So that's how the whole thing works. We need to reformat our manner of appointing councils into our university. But the point I wanted to make, which will appear we missed out in all of this. Yes, we have the infrastructure put in there. Maintenance. How do we maintain? How do we sustain? The rendition by Uzoma Olua, showed decayed infrastructure. That's what the Vice Chancellor of UNN said. Decayed infrastructure.
Which means it
was existing and good enough. So it's also part of governance of the university. Maintenance of the... Professor Bogoro will give you money. You put up the thing, it will go there to commission. But you won't go there every day to see how you maintain.
All right, Professor.
So, no, I will just finish with that. I'll tell you what some good practice that I found. I visited almost all the top universities in Africa. And in 3 instances, I found that students, let's take a hostel. There's a competition. A monthly competition among
So what are they doing differently in some of those schools? We must go now.
Okay, that's right. We must go now. But the inhabitants of hostel A will compete with hostels B, C, and D. Because at the end of the month, there'll be a competition. Which one is the cleanest? Which one is they even get money out of their pocket to pay their hostels in preparation for that competition. So we've got to look at how we maintain all this infrastructure that we have been talking about.
In that case, university administrators have to think out of the box. Exactly. They're not doing that just yet.
No, not yet.
Okay, quickly we must go, gentlemen. But let's take the final remarks from Professor Ozumba in Enugu Center. Yes, alma mater, alumnus of universities, actually have a role to play as well. Are you exploring this particular one? Briefly.
So before I came on board, there was some disconnect between the alma mater, the alumni and the institution. But I must say that right now we're enjoying very good relationship. You cannot do with the alumni. The University of Harvard in the United States, the best ranked, thrives on the alumni. They get so much endowment. People die and will all their they have in the world to the university. So even now, I was just successfully conducted the West Africa University Games, and the alumni were a bulwark. Remember, our money was held up by TSA and so on, but we still discharge ourselves very well because of support from the alumni. So we are tapping into that. For that matter, they intend to spearhead the building of a hostel within the university. That is the extent we are going.
Benjamin Ozumba, Vice Chancellor, University of Nigeria, Nsukka, speaking to us from the Enugu Network Center of the NTA. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Welcome.
All right. We also would like to thank the Executive Secretary of TED Fund, Professor Suleiman Bugoro. Thank you for your time and your contribution.
Thank you very much.
And former Executive Secretary of the NUC, that's the National Universities Commission, Professor Obita Okebukola. Thanks for being with us today.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
And of course, lastly, but not the least, Professor Yahuza Bello of Barrio University, thank you for being with us.
It has been a pleasure.
Yeah, we do hope, Blessing, that the worthy amongst us would at some point begin to think of bequest to institutions. That, look, have it as part of your will that when you pass on, so much of it will go to, XYZ.
So I always say we should remember the society that made us.
That's right.
Okay. Moving on the program, we told us that it's a two-part conversation today. So let's see what these young minds will be doing to actually support the higher institution they will get to eventually. The NTA ETV Expo actually had been on for some 3 days now. It is the 9th edition, and the 2015 edition of this annual program for art, science and technology for primary and secondary school children is a platform to actually do so many things. Omotola will tell us more in this background report.
From about 60 schools across the country, they have come, young and talented, each of them representing the future of Nigeria.
Technology and science are twin subjects that has helped every other country in the world that has moved from some pedestal level to levels of development. So if this is our goal, to get Nigeria also off the ground, because these are things that are relevant to society and we think people are not doing enough.
While different creative works of art inspire style, innovative inventions give hope of a country blessed with brains for technological development.
The machine is all about turning off waste, non-biodegradable waste. What I mean by non-biodegradable waste is something like plastics, nylon, waterproof, even your battery zippers, all those ones that don't biodegrade, you put them into the machine would then turn them into fuel, a kind of refinable oil.
The hope for an industrialized Nigeria is rekindled on this platform that provides room for networking among students and their handlers.
You are watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
All right. right, this is Good Morning Nigeria. We are live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Of course, we just finished discussing the state of infrastructure in Nigerian universities and what needs to be done. Now we're having in a studio with us at this time 3 young Nigerians who have taken part in this year's NTA Young Exhibitors Forum. First, let me at this time welcome Ihere Sedge mascot. He's the Apostles College in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State. Ihere Sedge mascot, welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir.
That's right. I hope you took a great deal of Abakaliki rice, before coming.
Yes, sir.
All right. And then we also have with us Jamiu Arife. Jamiu Arife is from our high school in Ondo State. Jamiu, welcome to the program.
Is this your first time in Abuja, Jamiu?
Yes.
Okay. And last but not the least, Chiamaka Okbara, Futo International School in Owerri, Imo State. Chiamaka, welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you, sir.
All right, blessing. Take it from there.
Let's start off, well, naturally. Let's do the ladies first. Okay, Chiamaka, that's your work beside you, because this exhibition, of course, is from art and science and tech. Tell us what exactly you're trying to paint. I know the artist has so many messages in mind. What did you come with this time around?
I came with a collage, and this collage is divided into 3 panels. These 3 panels represent one thing, which is Nigeria's past, present, and future. So at the past, it talks about when our forefathers normally trek. As you can see, there are 2 people there trekking with legs. When they normally trek and walk around, but transportation wasn't that easy for them. It wasn't fast enough, so they decided to use animals. So as I went on with the use of animals, it was quite okay, but it wasn't that so fast as they expected it to be, because they didn't take them to their destination as fast as they wanted to. So they improved by the use of cars like like the one we have here. But as I went on, they enjoyed it anyway. But for some while, it gave us its own disadvantages, and these disadvantages, the carbon that it releases, the cars release carbon, and this carbon is not good to the environment. As you can see, there are also factories here, and the ships, they all release carbon, which is not good to our environment. Which is not good to our environment. Neither is it good to us human beings. So my own thought was how to improve it. But let me take it back again. When the problem there, and well, the topic is Nigerian. The topic is Nigerian. The theme is environmental sustainability and improved transportation as 3 ingredients for Nigerians' development and unity. Well, according to the topic, the artwork I did now is according to the topic. So. Let me go to unity and development. In this very case.
So what is your outlook? Yes, you are making suggestions on how we can actually improve on what we have. So what are you suggesting?
Well, my suggestion is for us to use solar energy to improve. That is, cars will use solar panels, which will trap energy from the sun and then help it to move, as well as the factories and the ships.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Amaka. And that brings us to
Jamiu.
Okay.
So, Owo High School from Ondo State, yes.
Okay.
Jamiu.
Jamiu, tell us what you have here, or what you brought to Expo 2015.
The title of my project is Fire Detection, Alarm and Fighting System. This project has 2 sensors. One is sensitive to...
Pick it up and then let's see what you have, so that the camera can have a good shot of it. Yes. Okay.
With these days of fire breaking market.
Yeah, so go ahead.
So
these are the 2 sensors. One is sensitive to smoke and gas. One is sensitive to fire. Whenever they perceive smoke or gas or fire, they will send the signal to the microcontroller. The microcontroller is inside this project. The microcontroller will process it and send the processing signal to the buzzer. The buzzer will blow alarm to the people that fire outbreak can occur. And I made the sprinkle water. Whenever the buzzer is blowing alarm, we come and press this place, and the sprinkle water will be sprinkle water to the particular places. to prevent it before the arrival of fire brigade.
So how long did it take you to come up with this idea and put it together?
This project took almost 4 days.
4 days?
Yes.
So
what was your inspiration? Why did you decide on this?
To reduce the danger of fire outbreak in our society, because many houses got burned, they didn't get alarm. That is why I invented this project.
Very good. Well, Jamie, another point, you talked about, smoke detector, fire detector, and then the buzzer, and then the alarm that goes off, a sprinkler. There's a sprinkler system there. Yes. What's your interest in science and technology?
I want to become an electric engineer.
Electrical engineer.
Yes.
Electrical. Now they call it elect. You know what that means? Electrical and electronics.
Yes.
And the word is actually now going to mechatronics, which is mechanical and electronics.
Yes.
What class are you?
JSS 3.
JSS 3.
Okay,
right.
now, is this your first time at the NTA ETV Expo?
Yes.
Okay, I know there are so many of you that have come in the past. What are you telling government to actually do to help young minds like you who are interested in making scientists out of those?
The government should provide more components to produce this project, many. And the government should advise people to use this project everywhere, in the vehicle, or in the houses, or in the industry, or in the office, to secure them. Okay,
before I come to getting these materials, you were able to source everything locally?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if given the opportunity, you can do many more that can service the whole nation.
Yes. I was wondering, just one last question for Jamil. Is it battery operated, or is just is it dependent on light or energy?
Rechargeable battery.
Rechargeable battery that is inside. Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right. Your own project centered around solar and good enough solar power panels. Tell us more about it.
So the car I made was made up of solar. After checking the disadvantages from other internal combustion vehicles, like the vehicle that uses fuel, which produces carbon dioxide that is harmful to environment, I then thought of producing something that won't produce any harmful gas, and also the noise it makes. Like my car is noiseless; it does not make any sound.
Okay, that's your car on the screen.
That's your car on the screen.
That's the car. Right on the top of it is our solar panel, each 130 volts. The one on the bonnet, 50 volts, that powers the vehicle. Inside it, we have 2 batteries, each of 100 amps. That is connected to our inverter that serves as the switch. So while it's connected to it, it then powers our vehicle when we start it. So, and that car, it does not make use of any fuel. It only uses the solar power.
So that's the car of the future.
How long does the battery fully charged? How long does it last?
If like when the car, I made it in such a way that it does not use only solar power. Like in the evening when the sun is down, you can still charge the battery. And if you charge it for up to 3 hours, you can take it for a day, and as long as it keeps moving.
I was just wondering, it's a fairly advanced question for you. You know, if you're on the highway, how many kilometers can you drive? It is fully charged as it is now.
It is automatic. As it moves, the speed increases, so it can drive as long as you want it to drive. So far, maybe in the day when the sun is shining, it keeps on driving.
So as long as you have enough charge for power from solar,
yes, sir,
it can move it.
Yes, sir.
And what's your interest in this? You see where the solar panel is located. Have you thought of, if there's a crash, yes.
That's a prototype.
It's a prototype. Have you thought of relocating the position of...
I just thought of it because I've been thinking of this project right from my JS1. I'm presently in SS2. That's over 5 years. I started by constructing it in cartons. So I then thought of producing something that, as it is now, it can accommodate 2-seaters. So if the government give us more time and get the equipment that we need, can still make the one that can carry a whole number of people.
When you are going to your workshop, you also go with your cane, that's your walking stick?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you have to go on some other software.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, the Heritage mascot is from Abakaliki, Ebonyi State, who designed the solar-powered vehicle. We'd like to thank you. And you're a science student, obviously. What do you hope to study in future?
Mechanical engineering.
Mech-eng. So we wish you the very best.
Designing the cars of the future already. Okay.
All right. Here is Sedge Mascot. Thank you for being with us. And also would like to thank Jamiu Arife from Owo High School, who designed the fire alarm system. And Chiamaka Okbara, of course, who gives us a bit of art, in terms of locomotive history. I would like to thank you for being with us on the program this morning.
There's also the connecting line, arts and also science.
Absolutely, that's right. To see how our human beings have progressed from walking on foot, from being bipedal, to using other means of transportation.
Okay, from the world of science, we move over to sports. Latest developing the world of sport will be let into by Musbao and we'll have this morning.
Okay, welcome. Let's begin with highlights of a showdown between Golden Eaglets of Nigeria and the Australian counterpart decided early today. And to other stories now, 7 candidates will stand in FIFA's presidential election on 26 February. The candidates are Prince Ali bin Al Hussein, Musa Bility, Jerome Champagne, Gianni Infantino, Michel Platini, Sheikh Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa, and Tokyo Sexuale. Trinidadian ex-footballer David Nakid was not included on the list despite saying he had submitted his candidacy. The election is to find a successor to the suspended Sepp Blatter, who is under criminal investigation. The Swiss 79-year-old announced he would be stepping down in June, with world football's governing body at the center of a criminal scandal. Okay, that's sports this morning. The program is winding down now. Enjoy the rest of it with Kingsley and Blessing.
Thank you very much, Musbao Dan Wahab, for the sports package. Of course, the Golden Eaglets were truly golden last night, spanking Australia 6-0. Now, elections in Tanzania's semi-autonomous region of Zanzibar have been annulled as votes are said to have been tampered with. Also, the United States has given an indication of a shift in its campaign against the militants in Iraq and Syria. Patricia Isami-Luba, our correspondent, tells us more.
Good morning. Let's start with reports from the Middle East that says multilateral talks on finding a political solution to the conflict in Syria, which is to hold in Vienna, will include the Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif. This, the report said, will be the first time Iran, an ally of President Bashar al-Assad, will attend such a summit with the U.S. Representatives of Russia, Saudi Arabia and Turkey will also be in attendance. Earlier, the U.S. said an invitation had been extended to Iran, a move Syria's Western-backed opposition questioned. The main round of talks is expected to take place on Friday, but diplomats say some preparatory meetings could happen this evening. Also, the U.S. has indicated a shift in its campaign